Okay, this is our panel, and they're going to help us understand what we've been seeing this morning when we've been reading the tea leaves by watching what goes by out my window when it comes to traffic. And you can see the previous two videos, which will give you half an hour of watching. And it is a good idea to watch that because then you'll have further context of what the panel here are going to talk about. Okay, so we got Cowboy Guy, we got, I don't know, he's a minion kid. This lady we're going to call, Greta. And this one here is Eeyore. Okay, Eeyore, what do you want to tell us about, reading tea leaves by watching cars go by? He says it's a fascinating thing, especially because we're starting to get different colors in this video. We've got a lot of more colors than we've seen before, but way more colors. Way more colors than we did in the previous two videos. So everything has changed from the previous sample of what was going on reading the tea leaves by checking out the colors and the messages on the side of billboards that go by. Okay, so anyways, we're going to talk to Minion Kid, and Minion Kid says, what? He says, "Hi, don't you like me? Aren't I cute? You know, if I'm 6 years old and I'm a cute minion cartoon kid, if I'm a 6-year-old human kid, do you think I'm cute? Do you think I'm worth saving? Do you think that maybe, the number one priority for adults on planet Earth are little kids like me? The number one overriding priority, don't you think it should be 6-year-old kids like me? Don't you think the whole world should be designed to revolve around me? Don't you think it should, really? In the end, shouldn't, Earth, everything should be for kids? To make kids happy? Shouldn't that be like the overwhelming, the tagline for planet Earth is, kids love it. Cowboy Guy said, "Yeah, I like that idea because," he said, "one time I was a kid and inside I got an inner child that just loves to play." Greta said, "Well, I played with Barbie dolls when I was a kid," and ER said, "Aren't I cute?" He said, "They fixed me up at Pixar and I'm not such a miserable person. You see me in the Winnie the Pooh things. Aren't I cute? Can you see that I fixed my horrible personality and I'm beyond cute?" I don't know. I'm beyond cute. Everybody admits it. Anyways, the panel continues to remind you. On planet Earth, what we were taught is profits before people, which led to the they live scenario with Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper, the pro wrestler, who's in the business of making kids super happy. And then Roddy Piper, who is all in the business of, let's just make this world super fun. And then he goes outside and he discovers that this world is run by heartless machines that are evil and that want to actually exterminate the little 6-year-old minion kid. I don't know. Well, Dora's a kid, and I'm not. And I'm not either. And these two guys want to remind you, the Cowboy Guy and Greta, and, he gets a new name. He doesn't want to be known by that name. But, they want to remind you that they're all about their little one. And these guys want to let you know As far as they are concerned, they are the popo. They are the police. And these guys are not going to tell you anything other than if you see a lot of black and white cars around, it's because you need to understand this is the sting. And it was an old movie from the 1970s with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. And in this case, the sting is giving people enough rope to hang themselves. In other words, lots of opportunities to do evil because it's the great cleanup of anybody who have any inkling at all about doing evil. We give you enough rope and enough time and enough examples of people like, Bob, who's been tortured for over 6 years, to give people the idea that it is that movie, The Purge, and there's no one enforcing any laws whatsoever, including murder and torture and kidnapping and child killing and drinking adrenochrome blood. Adrenochrome blood. I don't know. I know somebody along the way when I'm talking about that, but thought it was a good time to remind you that there is somebody here called Kling Clancy, and Kling Clancy is a devil. And, he's the kind of devil, Kling Clancy. It is just, it's just like, this guy is not King Clancy, but this guy is saying, what am I supposed to tell you? When I hear about King Clancy wanting to hurt Dora the Explorer, wanting to kill Dora, and wanting to kill Minion Kid. Well, these guys are like, I don't want to tell you, but, they're more than enraged. They are. They're more than enraged. And that's the way it is. Lawlessness. I don't know. They gave us, it was so strange in the 1970s? Was it 1980, the first movie, The Road Warrior? 1977, Mel Gibson, The Road Warrior, post-apocalyptic Australia, the breakdown of government and civilization, and well, you could watch The Road Warrior if you've never seen it. In our day, it was a must-see movie, and the sequels, we all watched them all. What was the message? I guess that was the message. Was it predictive program to get us the idea that our future is post-civilization? They give you the same future in Stephen King books. Well, I don't know. They're not painting a rosy, angelic future for you. In mainstream books, mainstream Netflix is nothing but gloom and doom and eternal boredom, because it's boring. They never have any fun. Well, Hawaii Five-0. Those two guys, the partners. I don't know. Scott Conn and the guy who plays Steve McGarrett. I don't know. It's the most wallpaper paste thing I've ever seen. I don't know. Because if it wasn't put into this reality box where... because if they let people develop naturally, they would get in the hot tub, and the next thing you know, I don't know, they would have had a scene where they made out. All the way around the world on TV for everyone to see whether they actually were boyfriends or not. And then you're going to find out actually that they weren't. Because they couldn't really make it work. There was no spark plugs, and then they realized that they've been wasting their time for all these years on this TV show because the two of them are karmic for one another. They're not the divine, what do you call that? Twin flamer. They're not in a twin flamer relationship because when they try to consummate it, they find out that there's no spark plug. They can't get off with one another. So ergo, then they're with the wrong person and they need to quit the show and go off and find somebody else who might be a soulmate. Because at this late date, even a soulmate connection, you would say, well, yeah, you are, but it's time to move on because everybody else on the planet is a soulmate of you. And if you do believe that there's a twin flame out there, then this guy ain't it. So I'm going to red pill you, Steve McGarrett. It's time for you to cut bait and move out. And that's the same for all of you married couples out there. If, at this late date, after you've been married for, in some cases, decades, Coca-Cola doesn't taste good and fresh, then you got the wrong person on your hand. Because Coca-Cola, classic Coca-Cola, there was a big kerfuffle. Because they took it away and they gave us new Coke. But people said, I want original Coca-Cola. And even people that smeared and said it was cloying or was too sweet or whatever, people went out of their way. They went out of state to get the last remainders of real, authentic Coca-Cola. Because there's nothing like the real thing. And Coke told us over and over and over and over again, there's nothing like the real thing, baby. There's nothing like the real thing. I don't know why they don't advertise anymore, Coca-Cola. Anyways, does it taste like the real thing or not? It could taste better for me. I mean, it tastes like cola, yeah, but it just doesn't have... It doesn't have the zing. What does it mean? Well, if you're an angel and you're around here these days, then these guys are angels, just so you know. And we have a job to do. We're on a mission. And that devil who wears Prada, well, I mean, we're about getting rid of devils because we're about protecting and loving. Our kids. So the takeaway is the big sting is on, and anybody who did evil... well, I mean, you were warned. There were, under the time of Donald Trump and the QAnon people, they announced there was 42,000 sealed indictments back in those days, and then it was like 98,000 later on, and I don't know what it is now. I think that's symbolic, though, because if there's 300 million people in the USA, 42,000 sealed indictments is peanut. And not even peanut. It's not even one peanut. That's nothing. Because in every local place, there must have been a lot of people who were being watched. Well, just because. Well, they might not even be, what you would think of as earthlings. Well, because David R. Hawkins of Consciousness Research told us, around the year 2000... He told us Earth is a purgatorial realm, which means, in purgatory you're not good enough to get into a heavenly realm. So you need to purgatory, purge. So you need to barf up all of the impurities in you and don't take any new ones in. Mostly we would think, these are like mind things, self-help things, anger management things, meditation things. Maybe you had some various forms of body work done, massages and things. Maybe you did a lot of talk therapy. Maybe you learned energy healing like Reiki. Maybe you just were, an eternal student and always looking for more information and more and more and more. Maybe. In any event, this sting is still running because I'm still attacked by vicious, violent people that are already caught by the sting. And somebody new did come in. I felt the presence of some new person who came in to the terrorist nest and started terrorizing me. And I knew it was somebody new because they were doing things that are, just considered signs that there's somebody new. Because they've been done so many times over the, 6 years of me experiencing various people coming in. There was a movie called, I think it was The 13th Floor. Didn't remember. I didn't watch the whole movie, but it's something about, it's like Sense8. It's about you having access to another person's body, mind from remote places. There's eggs hatching today. Well, spring has sprung in many places. So we're going to be looking for little birds. Because little birds tend to whisper things in people's ears. So if you're getting little nudges or you're just little feelings coming to you, little nudges, pay attention because they really are trying to get your attention, and try not to have a closed mind, not have a reactive mind, try not to get angry. Because they might be pulling you away from where your attention is focused on what you think is very important, but they might be looking at you and saying, what you're doing is wasting your time because it's harvest time. And that is what you need to understand. Harvest is as important a word to you as, the date of your funeral. Like, don't you think that knowing the date of your actual funeral would be a date that people either going to want to know because they want to plan everything out to the last second because they're planners. They just, I need to know because I'm going to plan everything up to, if I'm going to die at 1 o'clock at this, well, I'm going to have a breakfast with, whatever, with my friends and, that I'm going to be done by this time. So, I don't know. I want to go shopping one last time. My last moment, I want to drop dead at Neiman Marcus or something. Whatever you plan, and other people are like, I don't want to know the date and time I'm going to die. I would rather live in the moment and never know when I'm going to walk onto that. I'm going to step onto a landmine and it's going to blow me to smithereens. Well, these are different responses, but you know that there will be humans that fall into these camps. I see a lot of vehicles that I call hearses. You know what a hearse is? Well, it's the vehicle used to haul funeral caskets. I don't see one here now. There was one parked in our parking lot last night. Anyways, it's an SUV that's like a very long stretch SUV. Anyways, we call them, a hearse. Because why would you even buy a stretch SUV that looks like a hearse? People are buying these things. It's like really weird. People have got weird psyches that they want to buy a black hearse from the car dealer. Anyways, you can keep an eye out for them because they're new and, that truck went by and it said Hood on the side of it. The most famous Hood is a British battleship that was sunk in World War II, and I'm not sure what she did. So you can look up the Hood, the battleship Hood. You can also look up the snake, the cobra, that has a hood over it, over its head. We want to remind you of Dell Computers. Michael Dell, back in around, I don't know, let's go 1980s. Dell Computers had a huge full-page newspaper advertisement in every major newspaper. So, Dell at the time, farmer in the Dell. And now that company that was such a big part of life is completely gone. What happened to Michael Dell and the computer company? The other thing we want to remind you of are Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island, the comedy show. And we want to remember that we do know who Skipper is. Hood comes by again. Skipper was played by the actor Alan Hale. On modern day, he is played by the Governor of Ontario Province, Canada. His brother was on a late night TV talk show. Skipper, modern day, is the governor. In Canada, he's known as a premier. The premier of Ontario is Doug Ford. And if you look him up, you will see, my God, he looks like Skipper. He really does. And is he dumb like Skipper? You betcha. And who's his brother that was on late night TV and caused quite a kerfuffle? His name was Rob Ford, and he is famous for being the mayor of Toronto, and like Washington, D.C. Mayor Marion Barry, they're both famous for smoking crack while they're the mayor. So we know that fun-loving people go to Washington, D.C. and Toronto, Canada. Okay, well, everybody knows that, if there's crack, coke. Cocaine always goes with hookers. Hookers and blow, they used to call it in those days. Businessman's lunches were 3 martinis, a couple of lines, and a blowjob from your local hooker. I can't help you out. That's just the way business is done. And you have to butter up your business partner to get them to sign. Well, what do you need? Well, we're going to show you a good time. If we show you too many good times, I don't know. I'm not going to get that thing sealed. I mean, seriously, I'm going to give you what you want, but don't push it. Unless it's a straight rebuy and I'm making a fortune, in which case I'm going to make sure that you got a Rolodex of, I don't know. I saw an Army green vehicle go by, and messages are electrical in nature. We seem to have a trouble there. I had somebody's truck, Beeson comes by. Oh my goodness. I don't know. It was unsafe. There was somebody's broken down old car, and part of the side panel was like hanging down the back side of it, and it was scraping the ground. I don't know. Beeson's vehicles are, I don't know, showing a lot of battle damage. Brett Beeson, the devil. Well, we saw Bison go by, but his name is Beeson. B-E... $IN. $IN is sin, as in, Catholics are sinning if they're, fornicating. I think fornicating, gambling would be included in fornicating. I'm not quite sure. Fornicating is what, you got to watch that old movies, Porky's and Porky's 2. You'll see the preacher. And he gives a great speech about fornication, but, I think, he watches pornography. That makes him... Okay, GFL right there. That green truck that went by, GFL, Galactic Federation of Light. is what we're known as. And here, the local company is called Green for Life. GFL, and if you go on YouTube and type in Galactic Federation of Light GFL, you will find lots of people talking about the Galactic Federation of Light, which are benevolent people who are here for Tom Jones School Days or Tom Brown School Days. Something to do with more and more haze. I can't help you out. I don't know, but Cheech Moran is our sponsor. Well, we have quite a few famous people who are our sponsors. And Cheech, even though, in the physical, this Cheech may or may not know, I don't know. Depends on how much he smokes. If he smoked with Bob, he would very soon come to the conclusion that, yes, indeed, he does sponsor, our group. Because, well, I don't know. It's just he's not here in Thunder Bay, right here. I don't see him walking up and down the sidewalk. But if he was, then I'm sure that, we would wave. Anyways, he's on our list of people who we consider, leaders of the free world. Cheech Moran and his, his bromance with Tommy Chong. Well, yeah, I don't know. They have to be checked out for Illuminati and, denazified or whatever. But, on screen, their personas are fun-loving and fun-loving and fun-loving and fun-loving and, going out of your way to have fun. And that is 5D Earth. Anybody that tells you that 5D Earth is nothing but, I don't know, you kneeling on hardwood floors in Ned Flanders' church, all forever and forever and forever. No, that is hell, and that is what the 1% intends to give you. The 1% and the transhumanist agenda is you being tortured. And you only have to see how they torture me over and over again with remote neural monitoring, voice to skull, and synthetic telekinesis, synthetic telepathy, and all kinds of DEW. That's the way it is. Because, people that think that there's no sex in hell don't really understand that it's true that they don't have sex in hell. The only place you're going to have good sex is with David Dida, because he's an author all about, us deprogramming ourselves from the idea that sex is dirty, sex is bad, sex is only fun if you're doing secretly and cheating on your partners, and that sex is only for you and one other person, your hand. And then you're going to feel guilty about that because, I don't know, you had a fling and then now you're caught because you're never going to be able to unfling, even though, it was just a fling. I don't know. It's just these stupid, people that are modern day that might have been married in a church, to virtue signal. I don't know, a certain fairy tale romance, princess fantasy to live out in the white dress or whatever, and Prince Charming. But, after a while, you do come to the conclusion that, it got very stale and, you don't give a good blowjob because you never had enough experience about you giving blowjobs in order to know, you're just inexperienced and you're never going to learn anything if you're with the same inexperienced partner. And even if you watch porn, you're never really going to get it. Because it's more than just watching porn. It's more than just fantasy life. You got to get your chakras in balance. I don't know. Orange pill, Donald Trump. I don't know. Do you think Donald Trump has good sex? No, I don't. He looks like a lizard to me. He does a lot of... I don't know. He's forever going... making that noise like, he's been doing a lot of white powders. I don't think he's getting... No, I wouldn't look at him as a role model for anything. So it's just that your chakras are got to be in balance, and then you can have sexual healing with Marvin Gaye. Why was it that Marvin Gaye's father shot him and killed him? The Count Saint Germain comes by and says, no, I'm a Mr. Twister and I'm going fishing for something called walleye. Why? Because the wally is still trying to figure out, why am I still cleaning up Earth as a Roomba? Remember the movie Wall-E? The little robot, Roomba, that's cleaning up the world while all the humans have checked out. They're enormously fat tubs of lard, and they go around in wheelchairs because they're too fat to walk and too lazy to walk, and they're living up in space, where they're on the great cruise ship where they just do nothing but mange. Mange, mange, mange. That's the French word for eat, eat, eat. Fat pigs. That's the way it is. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Are we going to finish off with the panel? I don't know. Just remember that the sting is on, and anybody that has been doing evil or has put profits before people, well, you are being judged because capitalism does put profits before people. Enormous profits to filthy rich people, courtesy of Justin Trudeau's government. How about, I don't know, billions of dollars to corporations for compensation for the Rona. Crooked government. And if the government's crooked, and I don't know, I'm just going to remind everybody that everybody is being watched by the beings outside of where you are. That is known as the realm of purgatory. And in purgatory, you're not supposed to go and reenact the movie The Purge, where everybody goes lawlessly doing criminal acts and mean-spiritedness. And if you're in Palo Alto, well, if your computers are, well, not behaving, then or who else are we going to blame? That's your news. Stay tuned. There's going to be more videos today.